Good morning, mate. Today I'm going to discuss a chess game I just played against afofaifo from Spain. By the way, I live in Australia, but I'm not Australian. I'm just half Australian. Well, in YouTube you can sort of put a lot of videos about anything, and I'm gonna put videos about chess. So you can go to sleep when you're watching this. Anyways, it's a good game because I believe it's very simple. I didn't make a lot of mistakes. My opponent didn't make a lot of mistakes. But the slight difference in tactical intelligence could cause a lot of damage to your opponent. Let's just have a look at Dutch defense game. Ah, oh, okay. It's not cooked yet. Anyway, let's start with the analysis summary. So it's a Dutch defense, d4 by white.
Laura, can I have my phone, please?
And Laura can have mommy's phone back, of course.
Laura.
Continued by f5 with the willingness of always doing this f5 move, opening the pawn next to the king, which is king's pawn. Knight goes to f3 here, trying to develop the center of the board. And then of course knight to f6, preparing for the king castle for black. Knight goes to e5, and then e6, of course trying to continue moving the black dark square bishop to sort of empty the space for the king to castle kingside for black. Bishop goes to g5, of course trying to pinning the knight from moving anywhere if it can. And here c5. D takes c5, bishop takes c5, e3, and of course before anything bad happen, I have to castle. If I don't castle in this move, for example, just move randomly, queen can move here, and it's gonna be dangerous because there will be exchange in queens, and I don't want that to happen. So better to avoid that. Let's go back to our last position, castle, kingside, h4 here, trying to develop the pawn in front of my kingside. Queen goes to a5, check. Now, I think the idea of moving my queen to a5 here is actually trying to annoy white's unprotected major piece, which is the knight at e5, which is unprotected. And there are so many ways to defend from this check. But my opponent chooses to open the pawn at c3, and from here I just try to sort of expose white's weak middles. So what I did was bishop takes e3 here, and from this point I think what can actually white do to defend the knight there, because it can actually move here. I suppose it's a good move, but I can sort of do this, check, king can take, and queen still can do this, check, and then queen can protect. Yeah, take it or leave it. It's gonna be a lot of problems actually for white, because white has quite big vulnerability because of the weak center. So if you go to chess school or you go to chess club or training like that, saying that make a strong center approach, be strong in your center, try to build up in the center using your major pieces, it's actually not bad. If you have a weak center, this would happen. I can simply move my bishop takes e3 there. It can do this, of course, and then I can do that, check. King can do that, and a lot of things can happen actually. I can move it here, or simply I can take this one, and then the knight will be threatened. Knight will move here, and of course king will be in the center. It's gonna be like a lot of problems basically. But yeah, I don't know, it's not easy to see, but let's just have a look on the game, what's happening. So bishop takes, and what happened here was, um, of course, queen simply takes e5, and white is down by a pawn, and it's a slight difference, but of course it's easy to say that small difference make the whole difference. So queen goes to d3 there, I suppose trying to launch some attack, or I don't know, try to build up a counter attack, and f4 is done here. The vulnerability that white has is its king is unprotected in the middle, and I can of course utilize the pinning tactic, and bishop cannot move, and of course queen here can move there to break the pin, but didn't happen. Instead bishop goes to e2, it's a blunder of course, pawn takes, and here f takes e3, reluctantly taking it using pawn because of course beginner player wants the queen to be there. They are not used to playing without queen. Queen is the strongest piece that they have. Of course queen g3 check, and king should have moved there to avoid any mates whatsoever, but it didn't. Instead it moved here, which is open to double check, and it's actually checkmate in 3, but I simply want to brutally kill the opponent by slowing down the attack and threat and make it slower and painful. So instead knight goes to g4. I move my knight to e4, and then from there queen cannot really help. And what can white do? The continuation is just painful. King goes to g1, simply queen goes to f2 check, and then king goes to h2. Of course queen 2 takes h4 check, and from then on, king goes to g1, queen goes to f2 check. It's just, you can't really do a lot of things about that. King goes to h2, and then here comes the rook, goes to f6, and really not much that that white can do. I mean, if white takes the knight, then simply check, and it's checkmate in 2. So it's gonna be sacrificing a lot of the pawns and pieces. Of course queen's the last one, and that's gonna be a checkmate, but thankfully that didn't happen. But instead it's a wrong move. Bishop goes to g4, and of course rook still goes to h6 check. Bishop trying to protect, there's no use, I'm sacrificing my rook, and of course king has to take, otherwise it's gonna be an open, and checkmate. It's done. So 20 move game done in checkmate. Fantastic utilization of weaknesses, such as weaknesses in the center. There is a tactic as well, which is a pinned bishop, and of course a lot of psychological vulnerability of a beginner player. I mean, it's a fantastic move that you can do if you sort of think ahead before. But hopefully you're enjoying this video, and the lesson that I can learn here is actually probably be careful in the major pieces that you open in the beginning, and something like this could be dangerous for you. So choose your move wisely. There is only one move in every single move that you have the opportunity of. So I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.